Hey class, today we're going to be doing converting measure to find perimeter. We've already done perimeter and perimeter versus square, so we're just going to take it one step further. Little shout out to y'all, I miss you, can't wait to see you again, hopefully we will, but who knows what's going to happen. Alright, I'm praying for each and every one of you to make sure you stay healthy. But anyways, back to our math lesson for today. We're on page 255 and 256 today. There's some things that might help you work these problems out, things that you need to remember that we've talked about in the past. Converting measure on page 41 in your math book, when we had to convert measurements when it was large to small, we multiply, and small to large, you divide. Y'all did that. I think it was large to small, you multiply, and small to large, you divide it, or something. Y'all did yours orange or something, because you're going to need to remember that. And then you're going to need to remember your measurement charts. They're on page 25, 27, 29, 33, and 35. You're going to need to remember some of those measurement charts. Not all of them, but you will need to remember some of them. So we're just going to convert the measures and then add them to find the perimeter. So in your math book, if you look up at the top and the example, it says, when finding the perimeter of a rectangle, both dimensions, length and width, must be the same unit. So if one side is in feet and the other is in inches, you cannot find the perimeter of that. You have to wait to have them both in inches or both in feet in order for it to work. So if you look at that example, one side says 5 feet and one side says 3 feet 6 inches. So I'm going to turn the 3 feet 6 inches into feet. Now how am I going to do that? Okay? And I'm in the example at the top. So if you say 3 feet 6 inches. Now, how do you make 6 inches go with that 3 feet? Well, think about how many inches equal 1 foot. It'd be 12. So you're actually making the fraction 6 over 12. Because if you remember, a fraction, that means means dividing. So then you have the fraction 6/12, because that's the 12 inches that goes in 1 foot. But you can reduce this fraction by 6. And it would be 1, what do you think it would be? 1/2. So then 3 feet 6 inches actually equals 3, whoop, my eraser, 3.5 feet. And the other measurement is 5 feet. Okay? So then you have to remember your perimeter equation for a rectangle. So P equals, think about what was that perimeter equation. What was it? Think about it. It was the 2 times length plus the 2 times the width. That was your equation you used. So now you would just plug in your formula. 2 times 3 1/2 and 2 times 5. So this one you're going to do a little more work to, but it's something you've seen before. It's the whole number times a mixed number. Well, you can do 2 times 5. Think about what is 2 times 5. It is 10. Then we can multiply this, so we say 2 over 1. How do we change a mixed number into a fraction? Multiply and then add, remember? Multiply, add. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7 over 2. Well, look at there. You can cross out the 2's, and your answer would be 7 over 1, which could just be 7. Then you have 7 plus 10. So 7 plus 10 is 17. So the perimeter is 17 feet. So I'll let that sink in before I go on. That was a lot to take in, I know. So all I did was change 3 feet and 6 inches into feet. Well, remember when you make a fraction, remember how I said a fraction's like division? 12 inches equals 1 foot. 6 over 12, reduce 6 over 12 to 1/2. So then you have 3 1/2 feet and 5 feet. Do your perimeter equation, 2 times L plus 2 times W, because you have 2 lengths and 2 widths. Multiply your fractions, cancel out if you can. Multiply those 2 whole numbers, then add them together and you get 17 feet. I know you're probably thinking this is going to be really hard. I know some of you probably are. I know exactly the ones that are going to freak out about this. So, even if I don't want you to freak out, I know it's going to look hard. This video might be a little long. If you want to play it in segments, that's fine. If you want to watch the whole thing at one time, that's fine. This is for your benefit, to help you understand it, okay? All right. So, remember I said you need to remember your conversions on pages 25, 27, 29, 33, and 35. And on page 41, you had your converted measures. When you had large to small, you multiply, small to large, you divide. You are going to need to know some of those rules to do the rest of this page. I'm going to help you out with these problems because it's brand new. So, Miss Sewell's going to help you. You don't have to panic, okay? If you do have questions after you watch the video, you know you can get your parents to call me, text me, something. We can work together on it, okay? So, let's see. Miss Sewell even had to think about this one and work it out herself. So Miss Sewell can help you. That's what I'm here for. All right. So, let's look at 1A in your book. 1A says, convert to the greater unit before finding the perimeters of these rectangles. So you're going to have to use the biggest unit of measure in that problem, okay? So class, for number 1A, it was 7 feet, 3 inches by 8 feet, okay? What's the biggest form of measurement up here? Is it feet or is it inches? It is feet. All right, so we have to turn this 3 inches into that feet. Well, how many inches are in 1 foot? 12. So 3 over 12. Think about it. Now, can 3/12 be reduced? Think. It can. They both can be reduced by 3. And it gives you 1/4. So then your number is 7 1/4 feet by 8 feet. So 7 1/4 feet by 8 feet. Now we can do our equation. Perimeter equals 2 times L plus 2 times W. Okay? So we would have 2 times 7 1/4 plus 2 times 8. Okay? Well, let's do the 2 times 8 first. What's 2 times 8? That's right, it is 16. Okay? Now this one we're going to have to do a little extra work, aren't we? Okay? So we have 2 over 1, because you're multiplying fractions. Change the mixed number into an improper fraction. You know, you multiply, then add. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 1 more is 29 over 4. And I did not reduce, but you can reduce the 2 and the 4 to be 1 and 2, and it'd be 29 over 2. Well, then you need to fix that improper fraction. Do that division problem. Okay? Let's see if you did your division correctly. So now you have 14 1/2 plus 16. Catch up. Make sure you're doing this. You need to work in your book. Some of you I know don't like to do it. Then you don't have examples to show later. Alright. Okay, so you have 14 plus 16 are your whole numbers. So 14 plus 16, do your whole numbers. 4 plus 6 is 10. Carry your 1. That's 30. So your perimeter equals 30. Can't forget that fraction that you had. And 1/2 feet is your answer. So there's a lot of work to it. I know it's confusing with some of the stuff, all the different steps you have to take to get to the answer. But if you take it step by step, you watch this video and take your notes, you should be able to understand what to do. It's a couple different steps you have to take, but it's nothing that you haven't done before. We're just putting those steps and combining them together. You've done perimeter. You've done the equations perimeter. You've multiplied fractions. You've reduced fractions. You've added fractions. So it's not something that's totally brand new. We're taking concepts you already know and putting them together. Okay? Okay, let's look at 1B. Okay? 1B, and remember on page 255, says 2 yards, 1 foot by 3 yards. Okay, if you remember our directions, because some of you don't read the directions before you work a problem out, and then you don't do it right. You have to always read your directions first, okay, class? Okay, so the biggest form measurement here is what? Is it yards or feet? It's going to be yards. So we're going to have to turn this foot into yards. Well, think about how many feet are in 1 yard? 3 feet equals 1 yard. So all we're going to do is add a 3 under that feet, because 3 feet equals 1 yard. So you have 2 and 1/3 yards. I told you guys, fractions, remember fractions is a division. So now you have 2 and 1/3 yards by 3 yards. So now you can use your perimeter equation, okay? Step. For a rectangle. So you would have 2 times my length, which is 2 and 1/3 yards, plus your 2 times your 3, which is your width, okay? Well, what's 2 times 3? Everybody should know that right now. 6. Now, same thing. We're multiplying. We have fractions. We have a whole number and a mixed number. What do we have to do? So you're going to add that 2, put a 1 under it, change that mixed number into a fraction. What is it? 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7/3. Nothing can be reduced or canceled out. 2 times 7 is 14/3. Now you have an improper fraction that you need to fix. How do you fix the improper fraction? You divide. I'll give you some time to work it out first. Okay, how many times can 3 go into 14? Think about it. 4. That means 4 times 3 is 12. So you have 4 and 2/3. So now you have 4 and 2/3 plus 6. Add your whole numbers. What's 4 plus 6? So perimeter is 10 and 2/3 yards. Make sure you get that down before I go away with it. Make sure you're following the steps I'm doing. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. If I'm going too fast, just replay me. Alright. 1C is the last one for the number 1 problems. Okay. 1C. Yes, I know I'm doing all of these with you. I want to make sure you understand each one completely. I want to make sure you know exactly what you're doing, what steps you have to follow, what steps you have to take, class, okay? So, excuse me. So yes, I am working with you, because if we were in the classroom, you would be telling me exactly, what to do and where I'm going. So I'm trying to do act like we were in the classroom, but so if I'm going too fast, just replay me. Alright, so 1C says, alright, so now we're having the metric system instead of the customary in English. Okay, this is meters. Remember, M by itself is meters. DM. Now think of that. There was 2 D's when we have our metric system. We have the kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, and milli. Well, this is a little d, so it's going to be a deci. So we're trying to go from here to the meters. Well, if you remember, this one is 10, 100, and 1,000. Well, we have 20 decimeters. Well, if it's going here, you're going to lose the 0, and it's going to become 2 meters. So 20 decimeters actually becomes 2 meters. So you have 2 meters by 3 meters. Because when you're going here, you're making your number bigger. When you're going that way, your number is becoming smaller. This way, the numbers are bigger. This way, the numbers are smaller. So 2 meters looks like 2. Normally 2 is smaller than 20. But in this case, 2 meters is bigger than 20 decimeters. Okay? So our perimeter formula is 2 times the length, so 2 times 2 plus your width, 2 times 3. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 plus 6 is, so you have 10 meters. I might have went too a little fast on that one, but I figure that one should have been pretty easy. You're just having whole numbers, you don't have no fractions. So just go back and recap. Since this was a little d, it was deci. If it had happened to be a big D with M, then it would have been deca. Remember my little slogan? King Henry died drinking chocolate milk. That's how I remember the acronyms. KHD, DCM. King Henry died drinking chocolate milk. Okay, let's look at the problems for number 2. Let's look at 2A. Now first, let's look at the directions. Some of you have a hard time looking at those directions first. You think, oh, let's probably just work it out. Because remember back when we were in school together in the classroom, there was some math work you were doing in your groups, and not many of you read the directions. You were trying to work the problems out, and you didn't have to. It gave the information. It was saying, do you have enough information to work it out, or can you not? Alright, so number 2 says converts to the lesser unit before finding the perimeter of these rectangles. So now we're going to the smaller form of unit instead of the larger. We're going to the smaller form of measurements. Okay, so 2A, the length is 5 yards and 2 feet, and the width, and if that's hurting my ears, it's got to be hurting yours, then the width is 4 yards. Oh man, everything is just squeaking for me today. Woo! Alright, so if we look at these, yards or feet, which is the smallest measurement form with those? Think about it. Yards or feet, it's going to be feet. Alright, so you have to turn your 5 yards and 2 feet into just feet. Well, think about how many feet are in 1 yard. How many feet are in 1 yard? There is 3 feet in 1 yard, so you would say 3 times 5, because you're going from yards to feet. You're going from big to little, so you multiply. 3 times 5 is 15. So 15 plus 2 is 17 feet. Okay? How many feet are in a yard? 3. So it's 4 times 3 is 12 feet. Okay. So then, take your perimeter equation. It 2 times 17 plus 2 times 12, because that's your length and that's your width. Think about it. Remember, a rectangle has two parallel sides. First it's these two sides, and then it's these two. That's why it's 2 and 2. You're multiplying by 2. So think about what's 2 times 17 right now. And then what is 12 times 2? Think about those right now. Well, 2 times 12 you should know automatically. You should know your 2 multiplication facts, just like this. I remember when I was in 4th grade, I know we're 5th grade, but I remember when I was in 4th grade and my teacher, she did a multiplication test for us, and she had recorded herself. It was 2 times 6, 2 times 3, 7 times 2. And we had to do that test like that. So 2 times 12 is 24. 2 times 17 was 34. So you have 34 plus 24. What is it? It's 58 feet. So your perimeter equals 58 feet. So this one, there was not as much work to do because there was no fraction involved. It was kind of straightforward. You just had to remember how to convert your measurements. That's why I said go back to page 41 if you need to. Okay, now we're going to 2B. Sorry for the background noise if you hear anything. Alright, so we have 2B. Okay, 2B says the length is 3 centimeters. And it says the width is 17 millimeters. So to make sure you can pick the right one, which is the smallest form of the measurements, it's centimeters or millimeters. You should already know which one is the smallest. So you can go ahead and tell me. So we'll have King Henry died drinking chocolate milk. Okay. Kilos, hecto, deca, deci, centi, milli. Woo! Which one is the smallest unit? Millimeters, milli. So if we're going from centimeters to millimeters, we're going to add a 0 to the 3, and it'll be 30 millimeters because you're adding onto it, and you're only going one space. Now, if you were here and you had gone over, then you'd have more zeros to add, but since you're just going one space over, it's just adding 1 0 to the number. So, because if we were like at 2 meters and we were going to deci, we would add 1 0. If we were going to centi, it would be 2 zeros. It would be 200. Then if you had a 2 and you were going all the way to millimeter, then it would be 2,000. But since we're only going from centi to milli, we're only adding 1 0. You're only going one place over. Okay. So your perimeter, 2 times your 30 millimeters plus your 2 times 17. I'll give you a chance to work out 2 times 30 and 2 times 17 right now. You should have got 60 for 2 times 30. And you should have got 34 for 2 times 17. And then add 60 plus 34 together. And you should have got 94 millimeters as your perimeter. So some of you that like to panic when you're learning something new, it's only stuff you already know how to do. You just got to think back, use that brain. I know you all are very smart students. Okay, we're going to work the last problem now. I just want to make sure you fully understand what we're doing. That's why I'm doing the problems with you. I should let you do some on your own, but I wanted to really make sure you knew what you were doing, because you'll get more problems later on throughout your math book on what we're doing today when you have the review of perimeter. Okay? So let's look at 3B. The length is 2 feet. The width is 1 feet 7 inches. Okay, think about it. What's the smallest unit of measurement? Is it feet or inches? Which one's smaller? Which one's bigger? Feet to inches, little inches. So inches, of course, is the smallest form of measurement here. So we got to turn the 2 feet into inches, so we're going from large to small, so we're going to multiply. Well, how many inches are in 1 foot? 12. So 2 times 12 equals what? You have your 2 feet times your 12 inches. 2 times 12 is 24 inches. Okay, we have the 1 feet 7 inches. Well, you have 1 foot. How many inches are in 1 foot? 12. So here you would just say 12 plus your 7 inches. That would give you 19 inches. So you have 24 inches and 19 inches. Alright, before I show you what's the next step, you do it. What's the next step that you have to do after you've got your inches? Your next step will be the perimeter formula. Okay. 2 times 24. 2 times 19. Go ahead and work out your multiplication. 2 times 24 and 2 times 19. You can do it. Come on. Two times 24 is 48. 2 times 19 is 38. Then you're adding them together. When you add them together, what do you get? I can imagine right now half you doing like this. I got the answer. I know it. It'd be 86 inches. Is the answer. Alright guys, that was your math lesson for today. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, call me, email me, get your parents to call, text me, email me, have any questions, please let me know guys. I really miss you guys, and maybe one day soon we'll get to see each other. Bye!